Welcome to OMB's episode 4, IT support for the elderly, also known as the drunk episode. So, I've thought long and hard about whether or not to do this as a subject because I don't want to hurt those I love. And yes, I'm talking about my elderly parents and also elderly loved ones. Basically, anyone. Oh, yeah. Warning, by the way, there could be jump cuts. There could be some ugly production shit in this because, like I said, I may or may not have been drinking before this episode. Where was I? Yeah, so I don't blame anyone over 70 for not, for having a hard time with technology. It's hard to keep up with. I have a hard time keeping up with it. It is. But, if you're of like the age of 80, it's like, it's like quantum physics for dogs. It's really difficult. We have to be careful about, I don't think companies should be allowed to sell like the newest iPhone to anyone over 75. It's cruel. It's not right. Start them out slow. Give them like a flip phone with the rotary dial or something like that. Ease them into it a little bit. Too much too soon, right? So anyway, if you're of my age and you do have elderly parents that are dealing with technology, you'll find yourself as their default IT department. And by the way, it's given me a whole new appreciation for IT departments out there. I always thought you guys were just dicks, but yeah, you have to deal with some stuff, right? Like, I think I'm up to probably 18 to 20 times that I've gotten the phone call, and maybe you've gotten this too. Can you fix my printer? My printer's not working. And that is just the tip of the iceberg, right? Because what happens is you go over there and you're usually working on a desktop because laptops are a little too advanced. And you start out, and what you find is, the computer has more viruses than like a pre-K in February. It's just riddled, right? I mean, there are pop-ups like it's like fireworks. Pop-ups, you're just peeling them back like layers of an onion. X out, X out, X out. God only knows what kind of websites they've been on because the thing is just riddled with viruses. So, that will take up a couple hours for sure. Then you get into it. And then 3 words that will almost give you a stroke that you don't want to ask your elderly parents, but you have to. What's your password? Yeah, that just goes down. That just goes down an avenue that you don't want to go down. And the first, actually, one of two things will happen. My mom has looked me dead in the face numerous times and been like, "There's no password for that." So that's a starting point. Or B, they'll break out the book. The book, right? It's that little notebook, and there's just scribbles all in it, and it's like, so out of date. So, like, well, it says my password is, sailor123, and that takes a half hour. You'll go through like 15 different passwords, and those don't work. But the best is this. You say, all right, fine, you forgot your password. We can fix that, right? We can fix that. Here's your email address. We'll put that in. We'll just click on reset password. One time I did that for like 10 different sites, like Netflix and whatever, bank account, like, we'll reset password. Just think of one password that you can remember. We'll reset it, and we'll just start a whole new clean slate, okay? So I do all that. It takes me like, half an hour, maybe more. And then I'm like, all right, so let's go to your email and we'll just, there'll be a link and we'll click it and we'll reset your password. And sure enough, she goes to open the email and says, oh shit, what? It's asking for a password. So that's what being, IT support for your parents is kind of like, right? Then there's the phone. The phone's a whole different ball of wax because they think it's a different device, right? The whole idea of Siri is very foreign. In fact, I think I had a half-hour discussion over what kind of name Siri is. It's not an American name. What is Siri? Why do I have to call it Siri? Well, you can call it something else, but it's not going to work. Yeah, true story. One time, my dad showed up at my son's hockey game and reached in his pocket to get his phone to talk to someone and pulled out the remote control. Yeah. I mean, in his defense, you can talk in both of them. Not necessarily going to work, but you can do it.